Superman 33, legacy number 876, Joshua Williamson writing with Hayden Sherman on the art. So you read this, Matt. Go on then.
I did. So I figured you didn't read this one. This is the one that was up in the air. Now I definitely know you didn't read another one. So
look,
that was the foolish one.
This is not me dropping Superman by any extent. This is just me saying to hell with these fight issues. I'm good. So on you go, Matt.
So what's funny is this one is you're starting with round 7 versus round 6. Because there is a little bit more formatting. The formatting, yeah. So
I could have swapped them. That's my bad.
Either way, it don't matter. In round 6, you see something that happens because what Wade does in the Flash book is he treats it like a Flash issue. This barely, I mean, Williamson does that a little bit here. There's a little bit of seeds, but you see a moment from this one in the Flash, which is weird. And this is for more on that. See round 7, Lex versus the Demon, which I thought was the first time that's really felt cohesive. But yeah, this one starts with Lex in hell, and it's teasing like he might have sold his soul to Neron, and the whole undertone to this story is, does Lex Luthor have a soul? Because that's actually the title of it. And if he doesn't have a soul, then what can the heart take from him, right? Like, because he's already given everything in pursuit of becoming better, right, than Superman, than anybody else. And so yeah, it starts with there, and Hayden Sherman's doing some really cool stuff with the layouts. Like he has these demonic looking borders that go around that frame everything, and Luthor's hanging there naked when Neron comes to talk to him, because all you have to do for this to be over is make a deal with me. And then it cuts to Lex versus the Demon, and they're fighting, and it looks like they're in Metropolis. And it does the typical fight stuff. Here, Lex gets a little bit too aggressive, and Etrigan uses some of his flame breath. Actually, they go from what looks like Metropolis. Oh no, they're in Camelot. I'm sorry. So they're on the Demon's home turf. They land on the round table. The Demon uses his Hellfire breath, and Lex loses. We get this really cool KO scene, and in the fire, Sherman's written out Lex loses, which is pretty cool. And then they start to reform, but we actually see, because since this is being written by Williamson, we actually see them picking their next form off of like a fighting game screen. And Etrigan's doing his whole rhyming thing, which Lex hates, and they end up taking the form of Etrigan has this, like, I don't know if you ever read Demon Knights, but he looks like he does in Demon Knights, where he's wearing more of an armor. He has this cool looking demonic sword, but Lex is in the Superman suit that he was at pre-Rebirth, right? When he wanted to do good, and he was, right outside of the New 52, he was a part of the Justice League. And he takes this form. They're in Metropolis, and it's basically not for the ties to Superman, but because he knows what's in this suit, which I had forgotten, but it's also made with Apocalypse technology. So there's a boom tube. So he ends up beating Etrigan in round 2 by throwing the boom tube at Etrigan's face and it booming away his head, which is pretty cool. Hayden Sherman's killing it with the layouts throughout all of these fight scenes. The stuff that he does with the angles, right? It makes the action move almost like cascading across. Like there's definitely a sense of motion. It is definitely the best looking of these fight issues thus far. And Lex is using some of these, Lex robots. And Etrigan's like, you're cheating. And Lex like, there's no rules, right? And yeah, in between all of this, we're getting the ties to the Superman book. So we have the Superman robots showing up with Lois in Superboy Prime. And that they have to do something to get Superman's hope back, which is what Prime has realized, right? Because Superman's the one person that they need to win to restore things to the way they need to be, right? To ultimately destroy or defeat, I keep wanting to say Apocalypse, but it's not. Darkseid and the Apocalypse Heart. and they get talking about the Legion, and Sunboy pokes through and says like, Superboy Prime ran away, and he's like, well, I wasn't running away, I flew away, and that was the only way to win, right? Like I couldn't stay there in that time period and fight you guys as the apocalypse wave was coming over and deleting everything. So they end up getting that data that is from Lara, from Superman's mom, into one of the Superman robots, and they only have 2 hours. So the Superman robot, Lois, and Superboy Prime go to fly off to go to the Watchtower. And yeah, we end up getting Lex and Etrigan in round 3, which goes to hell. And Lex talks about like in the time that they did the from Superman 25, when he had the clone of him with Superman powers XL, he went to that monastery and sat and thought about, you know, if he was doing the right thing. And that's basically, he realizes that how he has to win is like, he knows who he is. Right? He knows what Lex Luthor's is willing to do. There is no right or wrong. There's no good, no bad. There's no soul. You are who you are. So basically, they're saying that Lex is rationalizing not having a soul at this point, right? And I still don't know. It leaves it ambiguous if he actually did trade Neron, right? But what he does here, the form that he takes is this Lex that's been hanging in hell. He has all of these like runes and symbols etched onto him. And Etrigan takes the form of the super demon from that Earth where everything's magic. And he's got a flaming sword, and they're fighting. And Lex ends up casting a spell and calling the demon by his full name, which is Yarva Demonicus Etrigan. And he ends up taking the curse of the demon from Jason Blood and putting it into himself. And that's what all the runes and all the stuff that was etched on him are. Right? So he says, gone, the form of man, rise the demon Etrigan. And now there's a demon version of Lex floating there over Jason Blood, who then kills Jason Blood. And again, Sherman's art makes everything look good.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that Jason Blood without Etrigan would have stood much of a chance against Demon Lex Luthor.
No, not at all. And so the demon starts fighting back through Lex. And there ends up being a KO, right? And this is the only part that's really confusing. And I was hoping you had read it to give me a second opinion here. But as you're following it through, the demon starts pulling itself out of Lex. And then Lex says, you know, the demon tells him, there's a darkness in you I find. And he goes, you're right, demon. There is one more powerful than you could ever comprehend. I refuse to let anybody control me ever. And then it goes to like a KO. And it's just naked Lex standing there like the Terminator. Right? You know, when the Terminator comes down and he's kneeling naked. And it's Lex standing tall. And he says, you know, I don't care whether or not I have a soul. I'm not upon anyone's game. I control the game. I win. I will be the god. And he gets a telepathic link from Grodd, letting him know that Darkseid Booster Gold is pulling something. Because he says he's been betrayed. He tricked the heroes. We were fools, Lex. He played us. And he goes, betrayed by who? And that's where it reveals a fully... he's got the Kirby crackles going around him. You know, the Darkseid Omega energy on Booster Gold. And Time Trapper Doomsday goes to fight him. And he throws a punch, and the Darkseid booster catches it and says, no, your story's over. No one's coming to save you. And the final panel is Superboy Prime, the Superman robot, and Lois heading up to the Watchtower. So, again, these fight issues are very redundant. And here, Williamson tried to tie it into the main book best as he could. But the rumination of does Lex have a soul, I think, was a pretty good, a pretty good thorough line, because it seems like there's something darker in Lex than that. Right. And that's what Etrigan couldn't exploit. And it is that desire, right, to be more than himself. And he's willing to do what others aren't, which I think contrasts him against Superman, right? Where we've seen Superman be hesitant to do what needs to be done. And again, I feel like that's what it's going to come down to in KO. I feel like this is Williamson and Snyder and wait for a little bit when we talk about the Flash, getting in on that, doing what's necessary. And maybe that's the trick. Maybe you playing by the Heart of Apocalypse's game is where everything's wrong, you know? But yeah, it was a pretty solid issue. I like seeing Hayden Sherman draw stuff. You know, we had him in Dark Patterns forever, so we've seen his Batman. So to see some of these other characters, to see him drawing Superman and Lois, Etrigan, different versions of Lex, the art really carried a lot of this. I just wish someone would have done something different with these KO issues, or the fighting issues anyways, because they all settle down to the same thing. It's the Mortal Kombat Street Fighter 2 out of 3. You know, you can kind of see who wins the first one, where it's going to go. This one's a little bit different with Etrigan winning first. I think most of them, they have a tell of whoever wins first tends to win the overall. But yeah, it's still pretty good.
That wasn't true in the first one, because in the Superman one, I think Superman lost the first round and then won 2 and 3.
Okay, gotcha. I have to go back because a lot of these are in and out, right? They enter and then leave.
I don't remember the other one I read to even tell. I can't even remember who the other one I read was. Like, I don't remember what the fight was. Never mind who won what round.
It was Lobo and Wonder Woman.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah, see? But yeah, so I'll actually give this one a pretty high grade, all things considered. So this is a 7.5 as far as these fight issues go.